I am here.
Hey, Joanne is here.
Oh, hi, Joanne.
Hi, sorry.
Oh.
I'm here.
You're fine. Perfect. All right.
Yeah, you probably want to do the mute all and then get unmute Joanne. Right?
Yeah.
And then we can
I'm unmute.
Perfect. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and mute everyone. I will unmute you, Joanne, and I will unmute ourselves. And then if you have any issues, someone can chat me.
Okay, on Manuel's computer though, right? The chat.
Yeah,
Yes.
the chat is my computer.
No.
Now I'm unmuted. I'm
Oh.
okay.
Well,
Yeah.
you're faster than me, so look at that.
Yeah.
I was already, and that little mute microphone is in the lower left corner for me. I don't know about others.
Uh-huh.
So, well, welcome, and I guess basically all I'm going to do is remind you of the next meeting and all the things that you can do with links that we have set up for the users. And please remember to submit improvement requests on askhelpfulvillage.com. I noticed on Slack a lot of people are posting questions that really should be improvement requests, and the best place for those, I would say, is the ask.helpfulvillage.com site. I know there's some work being done to make the improvement list a little bit more manageable. So don't despair. Your requests are being noted and recorded, and there are just so many things that can be done to make this site even more wonderful than it is. So I think Manuel and Sydney would appreciate patience. Yeah. Any other comments about using Slack, by the way, from anybody but Manuel or Sydney or anybody else?
Yeah, I'll do a Slack update and talk about it a little bit more right after this.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yes, we have a request to explain what Slack is, so that's good. We love to talk about Slack. Yes?
Perfect.
Okay. And then Sydney's always posting new training videos in the Google Drive. So if you, I think when you get this slide set, can you click on that HV Google Drive link, or else you can, when you get into Slack, you can.
Yeah. It should hopefully, these should be live links. I know sometimes PDF doesn't always work with the live links, but also, you can email me for them, and the links for the Google Drive are also posted on the Slack, I think as part of the conversation in one of the channels. So I will talk about that a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
That would be great.
Yeah, wonderful. So yeah, we'll go over here. We're going to start with some news, start with Slack update, then go over the new documentation and videos and training and things like that. We'll go over the release notes that will be coming here Sunday, July 21st, which those will then be available starting July 22nd, Monday morning. And then we'll also go over what we'll be working on during the month of August. So yeah, we had 3 new villages join us during this time. We have Seabrook Island Village, we have Monterey Bay Village in California and Carmel, and then we have the Rivers East Village up in the Portland area. So we're very excited to have them part of the Helpful Village family, and yeah. So back to Slack, I saw that Jane, who's with Lake Barcroft, was talking a little bit about Slack. So for those of you who use it or don't use it, Slack is a communication platform that the Helpful Village team uses to communicate about updates, about improvements, resources, announcements, to intercommunicate between villages operating with Helpful Village, about best practices, questions, reporting bugs. It is a messaging platform. It is free. If you have any, when you are part of Helpful Village, it's a great resource. It's a great way to instantly chat, ask questions, look at other answers. If you are looking to join or haven't joined, go ahead and shoot me an email, and I have a link that you can click, and it allows you to instantly set up a workspace. Every month we do highlight one of our users, and so this month we will be highlighting Lynn. She is with a village with us in North Carolina. They were started with us in development, and now they are established, and they're growing very quickly, and they're doing an awesome job. Another thing that I wanted to note for those of you who are currently using Slack, when you do ask questions or report, issues, bugs, things like that, the more information, the better and the faster that we can help with. So including, we see here with Lynn's name, the village that she is associated with is in her bio. If you can put that helps me find out who you're associated with and what platform I should be looking at. And then just the more detail that comes with questions you're asking, the easier it is for me to figure out what's going on. So just a little reminder, and then we'll move forward. I did want to mention, this happened a couple months ago. There used to be one hosted webinar a month, and it was hosted by the Village to Village Network. That has transitioned, and we now host one webinar a month that Helpful Village hosts, that we go over the improvements coming to the platform. And then V2V, the Village to Village Network platform, they host a webinar that is a peer-based webinar. We had our first one last month. I know quite a few of you were there. I thought it went really well. We had a ton of fun. Joanne did an awesome, meeting about the weekly emails that you can do through MailChimp. I know we have another feature coming up this month that will be exciting. And then after, we have people submit questions via email or through Slack, and I help go over those questions. People can talk, peer-to-peer about what some practices they're doing, any questions, things like that. That will be next Wednesday, July 24th, at the same time as this, so 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. So shoot me an email, and you do need to register on the Village to Village Network site, so it does require a Village to Village network membership. One last thing is that we are rapidly approaching the conference here in Chicago. This is the National Village Conference. We have gone every single year. It is a ton of fun. It's super crazy. It's long days. You get to meet incredible people from all over the country and people from all over the world that talk about their villages. I know quite a few of our villages are going. One of our villages is presenting, which is pretty exciting, Northwest Neighbors in DC. If you can go, if you can't go, keep an eye out for, the recap. Every year we release a recap and talk about how it went and things like that. We will be presenting, so if you're there, stop by, come say hi. We always love seeing people in person and not just via video. So, real quick, I know that this is kind of like, beating it over the head again. We have transitioned invoices. We are now using a system for Helpful Village. This is for invoices for paying Helpful Village. It is through a system called Bill.com. It is free to have an account. We are sending invoices through them. I've noticed that some of the invoices have been reported to me that they're getting sent to spam. So if you've noticed you haven't received an invoice, go ahead and check there or shoot me an email. I will send reminders. So we'll move on. Now I did want to talk about the Google Drive. So for those of you that don't know, Helpful Village uses a Google Drive, which is free to access. It just has a link, and it has all of the past webinars, past PowerPoints, release notes, and then it also has training videos and training documentation. This is a great tool to use. I know that it is a little bit all over the place. We are currently in the process of completely revamping it, reorganizing it, adding new documentation. So while we're in this process, stay strong with us. I know it's never that fun. Mm-hmm. So, and then I saw someone ask if there's past webinars in the Google Drive. Yes, there is past webinars. There's two different folders. There's one that says webinars and one that says training documents. If you go to the webinars ones, there is a page that has all the past links and the dates associated with them. So they are YouTube videos. Now I wanted to talk about, we are completely creating a new training documentation guide. So essentially this will be a guide that will go through every single document and video that that we have. It will be more up to date. It will have live links, and it will also be more of a user's manual type guide. So it will talk about recommendations, it will talk about resources, it will talk about all sorts of things. So I did want to show you real quick kind of what it looks like. We can come here to the very top and we see here is a training documentation guide. Because I am the admin, it is editable. For those of you that will use it, it will not be. We see here that there's a table of contents that you'll be able to search. And then we come here and this is an introduction that talks about a basic guide, the video tutorials, Slack. And then we come down here and it will have video links, links to a tutorial, and it goes through. And then each individual module will also have its own guide for each tutorial or video that's within that. So such as, membership management. There'll be another table of contents. So Daniela and I are working on that. Stay patient with us. I know it's been kind of crazy. So. All right, now the exciting things. We're going to move to the release notes. These are the items that Manuel and I and our team has been working on this past month that will be deployed Sunday and available Monday morning. So let's see, I'm going to actually move this so we see. Move this.
You can click here on the yellow.
Well, that's okay.
Here?
Yeah, you can work on it.
Oh.
Our mouse disappeared. But that's
Mouse
right.
disappeared.
So for the documents library, we have reversed the order. So it used to be the oldest one, and then the newest one was at the bottom. That has now been reversed order, and so that the newest document added, newest report, is going to be at the top, so you're not having to scroll all the way to the bottom. This will be very helpful in quickly accessing those important documents, reports, so forth. We have here that the reporting hours spreadsheet was reporting in actually minutes while the user was reporting in hours, so that has been adjusted. We see here we have number 428. This is now more information is included on the volunteer confirmation email as well as the reminder email that goes out the day before. So this is when a volunteer confirms a drive location, it will show the different trips and the location. So we see here that this one is for the University of Utah Hospital. So that will be helpful in when volunteers get an email reminding them like, oh yeah, that's where I'm going. Now here, we created this report a couple months ago. It is a report for volunteers showing all of the services that they have provided to members, things like that, and to the village. It is the same thing. It is now a reverse order that shows the services that they are matched with first, and then the most recent service, and then older services at the bottom. So that will give a quick glance at someone's profile. We also have 341 completed prospects tasks now sort properly, and they also contain the year. So before they were being sorted not by the finish date, but by the creation date, and then they didn't have a year. So for those of you who have been with us for a while and have been doing prospect tasks, Beta Sound one specifically, they have been using the prospect module for quite a while. This will be quite helpful. All right, so I know this is a pretty big one. A couple months ago, we started having reports be asynchronous, which means that they were running in the background while you could still use the platform, and they were running, and then they would shoot the main admin an email notification. So now it will shoot the person who asked or requested for this report, and then it will also CC the main admin. So this is a way, so that way a manager or someone who is requesting a report still gets that notification, and then an admin can also see that someone is downloading or requesting information as well to keep an eye out. I wanted to mention also that while these get sent in an email and can be downloaded from an email, they're always accessible from the reports folder within the document library, excuse me. So if you don't always have your email, those can be found right there as well. So then number 525, the Contact Us page. So this is a Contact Us page. Before we had these different fields here you can see for phone number, for Twitter, for Facebook, and then for any description. We have created a field for email. However, it is not a live link. It then will create the email into a picture. This is to help with spam. So when something's a live link, I know some villages have experienced some spam. We have been working on upgrading our spam filters. So this will help that someone, doesn't get access to it, but a member in person can still see that that's the email to contact the village. We now have a PDF version of a members directory. This is a printable version. This is fabulous for members who are maybe not, computer savvy or viewing the members directory that we have live on the platform. We also have here a downloadable PDF version of the preferred providers. So this is very similar. So if you have members, that aren't using the platform or on the computer, you can still print this out to them and give it to them, and they have all the resources that someone who would be accessing the platform has. So now we're going to move to the live demo, and I'll let Manuel take over a little bit.
Okay, my time. Thank you, Sydney, for all the previous steps. Can you give me a browser? Okay, and we see the browser. So now I'm running this demo. Sydney is now taking care of the chat that is happening on my account, so on Manuel Acevedo, and I'll be running. I'll not be reading the chat on the Helpful Village one. Okay, so now that we're here, I wanted to let you know about some improvements we did for membership management. So if we go here to the admin area, and then we go into settings, and then we go into here, config memberships. This is basically where you create, the different membership types your village has, which can be, household, individual, etc. Now, the improvements we made are essentially about the management of monthly and one-time payments. But let's create a new membership type. Let's go through it together. So first of all, you can give this a name, which is I don't know, any kind of name for the membership. So it's a VIP membership, or let's say founders membership. It's just called founders, I think. This is a membership. So then the next field is a max number of members. So in this case, with this field, you say how many members can this membership type have. And it can have one if it's an individual membership, or if it's a household, then here we need to change this to 2. The next field is about how much is the fee for the periodicity. So the periodicity, let me explain this field first, is for how long the commitment of the person is to be with the village. So this is a 1-year-long commitment, right? And then for 12 months, we can say here that we will be charging $500. Okay? Now, there are a couple of new fields. This is something we already had in our previous version. The new thing that we have on this version is here. It's about if we are allowing or not the one-time payments. In the previous version, the version you already have on your computer, this was always activated. But we realized that some of the villages were putting people in monthly membership types, and they didn't want them to pay, in one-time payments. So here you have now more options here where you can say, well, we want to allow here for one-time payments. We want to allow also for monthly payments, and then if they pay for a monthly payment, then here the monthly fee would be $50. And then we can save this membership type. The membership type has been saved, and it's now here, founder household. Okay, next thing I want to do is that I'm gonna go search a person that we're gonna put in this membership type, and this is Leo. Okay, so we have a person here that we created ahead of time that is not a member yet, and we know that because he has no dot in here. And then we can create a membership for this user. And then here, we choose a membership type. So we're choosing the founders household membership type, and then we can add the spouse or partner and find the primary information, etc. In this case, what we're gonna do is that all this information looks good to me. I'm gonna save this membership information. And then the next thing I want to show you is that when we set, in this case, the credit card monthly payments, there's something new that I wanted to show you. Obviously, well, we don't have the address, but it should be there. This is a new field that I wanted to show you. This is new in the new version, is that in the previous version, when was the first credit card payment happening. So in the version you have, you needed to do that on that day. For example, if you do it today, is the 17th, it will always charge the member on the 17th of the month with a monthly periodicity. But now with the new version, what we introduced is that you can choose when do you want to, take the payments for this member for the first time. So here, let's say that we don't want to accept payments on the middle of the month, but we rather prefer when it's on the 28th of the month or any other day. But and then now you can subscribe, so with credit card, and then it will not charge the credit card today. It will wait until 28th of July to charge the credit card for the first time. And if I subscribe, I have the ability to enter the credit card number. Then 1, 2, 3. These are test credit card numbers, so don't worry too much. And then we pay the monthly fee that we had defined in the membership type, right? Now we pay. We're processing the credit card payment. And then success, the monthly installments are now active. So that's how easy it is. And now if we go into the payment tab, we'll see that there is no payment that happened today. The first payment will happen on the 28th of July. Okay, so that's the new modifications for membership management. We had received feedback from villages saying, well, we received the credit card number today, but we cannot enter it today. We need to wait for 15 days before we do it so that we know that we have all our members being charged on the same day. Well, now we made that easier. If you have the credit card number, you can enter it today, but choosing when will be the first payment date. Okay, now that is for membership management. I want to show you another thing that we did this month. Is about service requests. So you have here the list of service requests of the village, right? And then we're showing here a list of service requests that are open, etc. Sometimes you want to see the service request of a person, right? So let's say, who's a good person, Walter, let's say. Yeah, oops. You can search a person that imagine you have on the phone or that you're researching about, and then say, well, Walter Meaty is the person I want to know. And then you can go in the activity tab, see what are different emails that have been sent to this person, the events he has participated in. So we can see he's an active member. And then we have this button that allows me to see what are all the requests for this person. So if I click this button, it's gonna take me to the list of service requests. And then here, we'll see that it's all the service requests for Walter Meaty, right? So it's kind of a filtering by member. Now, something that we have now is this is something you could do before, but we were losing that information. Now what we added, specifically this month, is that we improved the search capabilities of service requests. So first, you have here the selection of the current member that is being searched for. So here we see that this list above is about Walter Meaty, right? And this is kind of one of the active filters. Now, if you don't want to have this filter again, anymore, you can use this cross to the right of the name, and then when you click on the cross, it's gonna remove Walter Meaty, and now it's showing the service request for all members, you see? Now, we did another thing that is interesting, is that, and you can combine, let me go back to the Walter Meaty research here. And then here you see that it has a couple of service requests, open, requested, etc. And then let's say that we're looking for a specific range in time. So for example, let's say that we want to do from the 13th of July to the 20th of July. Now we have added additional possibilities here, which is filtering by dates. So I don't remember the dates I said. It's from the 13th of July to the 20th. 13th of July to the 20th of July. And then you can search. So here we go. We have 13, 18, and 20. These ones here are those that are attributed to me as a volunteer. So they are showing, but now it makes it much easier. That you don't need to go through 200 requests for the same person. If you know what date that was going on, you can do it. By the way, these two fields here, you can define a date range as I did from the 13th to the 20th. It also works if you only use one of the fields. If you want to say, I want to see all the service requests before the 20th of July, that should work too. Obviously a longer list, so it starts from 17th of October, etc. And then same thing works here. If we say, what I want to see, what are the service requests of this person from today going forward, and we remove the, and we have another selection. So it's just, making your life easier with the enhanced search capabilities of your service request. If you have someone on the phone, you have an idea of the dates, you don't need to be scrolling and navigating the different pages of the service request. You can, go in and find those things more easily. So that is for the demo. Sid, I don't know if you have other questions in the chat that are coming in. Yes, one that is good one. I was gonna say there's a good one from Manuel Acevedo. It's like, yeah, that guy's smart. It says the filter status can be used at the top. Is right. So the search capabilities that we have here are combined with the search capabilities we have here too. So if you want to search from using those dates, but only see the requests that are open, you can use that field here, and it's gonna do the combination of this selection here, these filters here, and what we have down here. Obviously, if you have all these filters activated, if you want to get them restarted, there's a very easy way to do so. You can go here to volunteers, service requests, and that will delete all the different filters we added. Okay, so that's for the demo. Did you have any other questions you want to comment on?
Carol asked about what was the information being added in the volunteer confirmation.
Yeah, so let's do it. No, you have it. Perfect, thank you. Here, so if you see the bottom picture is a print screen of the email that is being sent to the volunteers. So in the previous version, we had here Sydney, what was the volunteer activity, and we added the table at the bottom that says, if it's a transportation, right, and there are different trips, we added that table with the different trips. So you don't need to go back logging into the app to see what is the, if you have 3 trips from, the member's home to the doctor and from the doctor to the pharmacy, you don't need to open up the app anymore. You can look at it on your email. Obviously, the email will, if something changes in the meantime, well, the email is not updated. This will work in most of the cases, but if you want to make super sure that you have the most, up-to-date information, you will always need to click on that button at the bottom that says View Service Details, and that will show you the real-time information about the service request. Good. You have another one of questions? The other thing we can do at this time is I did most of the demo. I think this is a good time. We were discussing with Sydney. We want to do a webinar that is a little bit more interactive. So at this time, please feel free to unmute yourself, and we can open up, the session for questions and clarification, not only by chat, but if you want to, take the mic and ask for something, this is a good time. And then, we'll allow 1 to 10 seconds, and then if there are no questions, we can move on with the PowerPoint. We have other things we want to show you about, the other things that are coming up for next month that we're working on, etc. But I'm trying to make some time to see if someone takes the mic.
I'll take it. No one else.
Perfect.
Joanne. Sorry. I've had a question for a long time about the emails that go out listing the volunteer requests that are open. Mm-hmm. Not the I guess not the confirmations, but the original saying here's what's open. Is there a time frame? Because I've been putting them out in the future for people who have a monthly appointment, and I really don't like for everyone to see that person's requests out for a long period of time. And sometimes I see more than 1 month or 2 months. I just wondered if there's a time frame, like do you only show the upcoming 1 month or so requests? Yeah.
So so that's the daily volunteer email, right? That we usually set at 10 a.m. So that's a smart email that has some algorithm with a kind of smart logic that puts the requests in there. We send a maximum of 5 right? To keep it short. And then there's a button that invites people to go to the website where they can see the full list, right? Now, those 5 that we're showing is sorted in a smart way. First, it's fitting the volunteer profile, right? So you will only see, if you're a driver, you will see driver requests. But if you're not a handyman, you will not see any of the handyman requests, right? So that's one thing. Then the sorting goes in the following way. We're showing first the kind of the important ones. You know, this flag that says that you can put a request as important or not. Usually for medical appointments or something, villages use it as an important request. Those go first. Then the new ones, you know, because if someone is volunteering, receiving the daily volunteer email every day, they're probably interested in seeing what's new on the system. And then we do chronologically. So we're showing the requests that come up first until we have 5. You know, so basically, if you have 5 requests, they are all coming from the same person, and the last one is in 6 months, that will be included in the back of 5 still.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, this is Bonnie. I actually have the same issue, and I did a user request some time ago asking that those emails be done in chronological order because I have the same issue. If you put in a recurring request that goes way out into the future, all of those will show up on that next email.
Yes.
So we did put in a request for that, but yeah.
It's an excellent point, Bonnie. I can tell you more, but we have one setting that is more a question, Bonnie. You tell me if this helps. One setting we can have for the volunteer emails is that we can say that there is at maximum one service request per member in that email. So that you know, if you have a person that put 5 requests and you receive the email with 5 requests for that same person, can be annoying. So you can, if you want to have at most 1 service request per person, it's something we can activate for any of the villages.
No, I don't think that would work for us, Manuel, because we actually do have people who have up to 3 requests in a week. But the problem really is having all of those recurring requests show up when they've all been put in at one time.
Wait, what I got?
When they're cloning them, so they're all considered new, so they show up.
Oh, because they're all new. Okay, got that one now. That's an interesting.
They're all new.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So thank you, Sydney, because I did not see why that was happening. As I explained before, the smart email is going to put the kind of the important requests first, and then the new ones first, because it's kind of a fresh information. But then when you're cloning, you know, the new request is based on kind of the creation date, and when you're cloning, the creation date is today, right? But for cloning, it doesn't really make sense to have them as new. So now I have a better understanding of the issue, and I think it's something we can address.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Bonnie. It's a great point.
But Manuel, for cloning, I think you still do need to keep it as new because there are new requests going into the system.
Yeah.
And for volunteers that look at the system on a regular basis, they're not going to see those if you don't show them as new. I think what you do for us on the email that goes out to volunteers, and I'm not sure if I'm understanding that, if it's a snapshot that they're talking about, you don't necessarily show ours in that sequential order because you took like a random snapshot to remind people. So, but I wouldn't necessarily assume that you should not show that as new because they are new, and that cloning might be 2 weeks out, and that's where somebody might be opening their volunteer dashboard to look at what they haven't seen already, right? So I just would be careful about assuming that don't put new on the clones that go out further than a week or something.
Yeah, it's a great point, Lisa. And it's great that we have this conversation because we get, I mean, Capital City for Bonnie and Marine both use kind of volunteer module kind of intensively. And we go to the, subtle fine-tuned things. It's an interesting conversation. So yes, they can be considered new. But then The problem with Bonnie is what? Is that those clones were hiding some other more relevant?
Yeah. So
Yes.
it's hiding ones that are coming up maybe tomorrow or the next day or Friday, even though those clones are in 2 weeks.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, I will not come up with a solution during the live meeting because it's kind of a very, but it's an interesting question. Definitely, we will carefully think about it, and as we did, we have different settings for fine tuning. So we there is a chance we can find a fine tuned setting that works for different villages that work in slightly different ways. So yeah, we will take a note of that one and come with news at our next meeting next month.
Thanks.
Great. That's advanced questions. It's great that people are taking the mic and giving this kind of feedback. If anyone else wants to go in, it's a pleasure.
I have a question. This is Lisa from. Am I on? Oh, yeah. One sec. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This is Lisa from Run Villages. The functionality with the monthly membership.
Mm-hmm.
You have that. The example that you used shows an annual fee of $500 and then the monthly of $50.
Mm-hmm.
For payments, we have annual memberships that let's say it's $500, but then we have monthly memberships that are, I'm just going to say $50.
Yes.
So it's two different membership types in our system.
Yes.
And the way that yours reflected it is that it's one membership type with two different payments, which is doable too, but we would just want to understand what would that look like on reports and such, because when we do reports and we see, for instance, a household membership, annual membership, for budgeting purposes, that's a one-time lump sum, whereas the household membership that has monthly payments, which we call household monthly, has a subscription type of payment structure attached to it, which is a different cash flow. So I'm just wondering, what are we going to see as far as the membership type, and what are the members going to see when they, if we activate the online renewals? Because we'll have that monthly renewal and we have the annual, and if they're going to pay online, it needs to be kind of directed back or aligned to whatever that membership type is.
Yes, it's a great question. Cindy, can you bring me back the browser here? Yes, I did the demo, and I showed an example with this membership type, and the one I created, this one, Founders Household, was showing that with this that you could pay with one-time payments and monthly payments with both, right? But it depends how you want to organize the village and what are the possibilities you want to offer to your members. If you want to offer them the possibility to pay either whatever they choose, the one-time payment or the monthly payment, you can activate these two settings, but you don't have to. Let's go back in and then I'll create another member.
Actually, so Manuel, this is really good. So if I were to say we have a household membership and there's two ways to pay, when that goes through the renewal function, does the membership, if they want to pay, will they have that option to click on annual with 500 and then monthly with the 50, or how is that going to follow through into the renewal cycle and online payment?
Absolutely. So if you have the two checkbox checked, right, when they go in their membership area down here, they will have pay, and I'm not a member, so it's not showing here, but if I was a member, it would show pay one time or monthly payment, and they can set up the one they want, right? So they can choose if you do it in that way. If you have a membership type that only has the monthly payment allowed, well, they cannot do one-time payments, right? And can only set the monthly payment. Now, we know for each person if they have an active membership going on, right? Let me see. Member, we see this is an active member, and we know here that the monthly payments are active. So we know for each person if they have an active membership going on, right, from the database. And then the menu, the possibilities they have here depend on if they have an active membership or not. In particular, here you have the stop monthly payments now button, that stop the monthly payment. So now what I was thinking, Lisa, to answer your question straight also is that there's probably something we can do in the reporting section, right? Where we can say, well, these people have ability to pay either monthly or one-time payment, but we can add another column saying, well, they have an active monthly payment set up or they do not.
Or we just have a different type called monthly. And
exactly.
then we don't have to put in the annual.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because I mean, this is nice, but I think it's still a little quirky.
Yeah.
So it would streamline a lot of things. Yeah. It's just we would just it's just a little quirky still. Yeah. Following through to all the other pieces that this would touch, right? Because right now we can see who's monthly, who's subsidized. Yeah. Right. Who is annual payments.
Yes, I want to say one more thing. It's like in the demo I showed, right? I create a membership type where you can pay either with one-time payment or with monthly payments. But in some cases, Avidit may decide, no, I prefer having separate membership types, one that is individual monthly and the other one that is individual, right? And then you know exactly who is on which system, and each one of the systems only allows for one time of payment. So, if you think it makes more sense to have single payment type membership types, then you can configure that in that way.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. I think there was another question at the same time. So if anyone has a question, you need to remember to unmute yourself. And I think
I have one going back to the volunteer daily emails. Just a little misunderstanding on our end. We have neighborhoods or villages, local villages, and I do not think that those are used to filter the mailings. Is that correct?
No, they
see everything. They see all the requests, right? When they get the daily mail, if it's a transportation request from a different neighborhood, the volunteer will still see it. Right?
No, they should be seeing the service requests for their neighborhood. But obviously, when you create a new service request, you can define who can see it, right? You can say, is that for that neighborhood, which is a behavior by default, or if you want to have all neighborhoods seeing it. But the best thing, Joan, to that specific case, well, let me answer the question. Is that they should see in the email the service request for their neighborhood. This is what should happen. Now, it's hard to investigate that live during the webinar, but the easiest is that if you go on Slack with Sydney and you give us the name of a person that you think, that it's not happening as you thought, it's easy to go with a specific example. It's the best way to go.
So the volunteer might have just one village, but the service request would have the many.
Yes. Yes. Or a volunteer can have also multiple neighborhoods he volunteers for.
Oh boy. I think we tried that once and ended up sending people all kinds of messages. We've been over this ground before and I still don't understand it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we offer the flexibility in both ways, right? So is that if you want a volunteer to volunteer in different neighborhoods, they can set that up on their volunteer profile, right? We show here. Volunteer.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah, and Manuel, I think it's inconsistent because we see that also. So, for instance, if I belong to Mill Valley Village, I should only get the reminder that has Mill Valley Village, things that would show up on the Mill Valley Village dashboard, right? And sometimes I get things that are in Novato, and that's far away, so that should never show up because it never would show up on that person's dashboard.
Yeah.
So it's just inconsistent, and we get that complaint a lot also.
Yeah. So definitely, obviously, as we're explaining, there is some level of complexity in the sense that we offer the flexibility on both sides, on the volunteer side and on the request side. if you found, if you have one of those emails that you can send to us, we can obviously investigate, the detail of that request for sure. But it is hard to investigate in general, but if you have a specific example where something happened that should not, it's easier to investigate with that specific example.
I think also, Lisa, coming back to that about why it's showing, something in Novato, I think with, if we come here, I think with Marin is that most of the volunteers have every single village checked. So if they never volunteer for Novato, that could be unchecked. I think that we configured it. I remember configuring it, I think last fall, that the daily email would contain their assigned village, and then if there wasn't, it'd be other villages. So that's why is why it's pulling from Novato, even though you say, you wouldn't volunteer for Novato.
Yeah, which is the way we originally were set up, which is, I get technically how it works, but it should not work that way from the dashboard. So it's off. We should do this offline.
Yeah, but I think we can take that question together with the question we were discussing before with cloning. So I'm glad to look at that this month, and come back with a more specific answer to our next webinar meeting, next month.
That would be great.
But yeah, I think Sydney's taking note of both things. So you group the things together, the clone request from Bonnie and the local village for Hub and Spoke with Maureen and Joanne. Good. Yeah, perfect. Those are advanced questions.
This is Margie from East Rock Creek Village in DC.
Hi, Margie.
Hi. I have a couple. We're just getting started and getting our ability to send emails set up, etc. But we're still trying to verify a lot of the data that was imported from our previous system. And so I have a couple of really kind of maybe seemingly picky requests. So if I put them on the Ask site, which I didn't know to put them on, do you give feedback saying, this would have a priority 3 years from next Wednesday, or this is critical, or whatever? Do we get feedback on the request?
Yeah, it's a great question. So let me clarify something. The ask.helpful village is usually a request for a modification in the software, right?
These are modifications in the software.
Yeah, if it's a modification in the software, it definitely needs to go in there. Then sometimes what we recommend is that, the Slack platform we were commenting before, right? Is that we usually recommend that people go in on Slack first. That is kind of the conversational website, so that they submit this idea, and then usually Sydney will look at it and say, well, this reminds me of this other thing, or I have an answer, or this has been solved with a setting or something, right, before putting the request. And then usually what happens, Sydney says, well, this is really something we do not have. It really makes sense to add it as a request for help for improving the aspect of the village. Then
okay, but I find the conversation on Slack, there are so many, what do you call the buckets?
Channels.
There's a special name. The what?
Channels.
The channels, yeah. I'm not ever sure which channel to look in for what.
Yeah.
So if I put something, if I have a couple of very specific requests, for example, to be able to specify a sort order for something, or what does there's a screen that shows a checkbox, a check mark on a column, and it's not clear what the check mark means.
Yeah.
So which channel should that go in on Slack before asking for a change in the software?
Yeah, there is a channel that is improvement request. Essentially, yeah.
There's also another.
Asking what a check means is just a question, as opposed to making a suggestion for an improvement.
Well, actually, in this case, the check qualifies as a multi-valued function, which is pretty unuseful. So the request would be to separate what the check means. It means one of two things or both, but you can't tell which one. So the request would be to please separate those. So I consider that a software request.
Yeah. Now Sydney is clarifying. So I think she had started this conversation with Margie. Margie, is this example, the checkbox is this one, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So, for me, this is a good thing that it started with a question, right? So let me explain what this is. So basically, this is, we have in the mailing list, in group management mailing list, right? We have the list of people that are in the mailing list of active members, and then their address, etc. And then we have this column here that is showing newsletter and valid email. So this checkbox here is showing, and it's not something you can modify, right? Here it's just
no.
But the checkbox is a condition to be able to synchronize this person with MailChimp. So for example, here, in my case, the person, if you want to communicate with this person through MailChimp, he needs to have the newsletter checkbox checked, as it is the case here. And the other thing is that he needs to have an email address that starts with, a valid email address that does not end with no email. So,
Manuel, are you explaining this to everybody else, or you think you're explaining it to me? Because I know exactly what it is. The ones that I'm interested in are when it's not checked.
Mm-hmm.
We often want to be able to use this to know, did somebody get left out of the newsletter list, or does
Mm-hmm.
that person not have a valid email? Mm-hmm. And there's no way looking at that to be able, when it's not checked, to be able to tell.
Yeah. Absolutely. You would need to go in. So, for example, you have this person here. You would need to go in and then see
and look
what's the email. So he has a valid email, but he doesn't have the newsletter checkbox checked. So you need to pick one. So yeah, it's one click away. This is what you're saying, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So all I'm saying is that when it's not checked, it's impossible to know what it is, and we would find such a list very useful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't understand. It's not impossible. You just have to go and look and see.
You have to look one by one. Yeah, we have to look one by one. Okay, never mind.
Well, is there a report that comes out that actually shows this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Can this report be exported right here?
No, I don't think it's from here, but you can.
Yeah.
What does it show?
That's magic. Yeah, so basically here you can export a CSV, which is, a spreadsheet file, and the spreadsheet file will show, the people in there that have the newsletter checked or not. So
you can do multi.
Yeah.
You can check them all.
I mean, yeah, but besides, you just to come one step back. I think the Slack is a great way to start this conversation, right, and have a first answer, and is where we potentially would suggest this solution about saying and engage the conversation, and then at one point, when we see something like, oh, that's definitely missing, then we usually recommend to go into the ask.helpfulvillage.com. But then, you can always put the request in there. Obviously, because anyone can request kind of different things. What we do is that we prioritize, the different questions. If it's, a time saver, or if it's a huge, a bug or something, obviously the bugs get fixed first.
All right. Well, I hope we were able to answer some questions and show some demos of some of the features. I see that we're cutting it close on time, so I did want to go over some of the priorities planned for August.
Mm-hmm.
So these will be released on Sunday the 25th and then available Monday the 26th of August. I did want to mention that we will have a little bit of a lighter improvement load next month. We will be prepping and getting ready for Chicago. Manuel and I are heading out there early, and we'll be there for over a week. So, and then I did know that we do have a meeting scheduled for while we're at the conference.
Mm-hmm.
That will need to be rescheduled. I will shoot everyone an email it will probably be done either the week before or maybe the week after. So I'll let everyone know about that. But moving forward, we will be working on creating a waiting list for events. We'll also be having an automatic email that will be sent to volunteers, letting them know either that their driver's license on record, registration, or insurance is coming up for expiration in the 30 days. We will be having customizable email templates, confirmation email templates that are done from an application. So I think about 2 months ago, we did this for provider applications. For those of you that remember, we'll be doing something very similar for member and volunteer. And then we will have number 569. There'll be similar to what we have on the service request that shows a little map. There'll be something similar on a person's profile for their address tab. So that way you can see a quick reference on relatively where that is in their address in the community or area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then just in a second, because there was a question by chat. So Diane was asking to put the priorities, to put them on Slack, and we will put them there for sure. And then
yep. So I do that. I post the improvement release notes as well as the priorities coming up on Slack every month, as well as the YouTube video.
Mm-hmm.
So I put them on. I don't know. Manuel doesn't have Slack open, but I put them on the channel. I think of improvement ideas or
announcements, right?
I don't know. I put release notes on announcements, and then for priorities, I believe I put them on improvement ideas.
Mm-hmm.
As a notification, as a reminder, we have the Village to Village meeting July 24th, which is next Wednesday. Our release meeting August 21st, and then in September the 18th, which will be rescheduled. And then there are some links. If you have any questions or need access to any of the tools or things, shoot me an email or Slack me and so forth. It was great seeing everyone.
Thank you, everybody. And all the new features we discussed today, please remember they will be up on the server starting Sunday, because I'm working on Sunday. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Talk to you soon.